All right, I think we're live. Now what I have to do is try another machine to find out if it works. We're live. We're live. Okay, let's see if that works. Hello? Great. Okay, babe. You're back.
Log into GitHub, that's your first move. Green code buttons got something to prove. Click on code spaces, don't you wait. Main branch is calling, it's gonna be great. Follow Explorer on the left side. Editor center code's gonna write. Terminals waiting down below. VSS code interface ready to go. Create that code space, watch it spin. 2 minutes loaded, let it begin. Everything you need right in your browser. No installation couldn't be smoother. Check your resources, keep them in line. Storage and compute working fine. Know how to stop it, know how to start. Managing code spaces is a technical art.
You want to help? Is that my phone? Okay, hopefully everybody can hear me. Fantastic. So you're going to hear me talk to my dog every so often. This is the second time she's seen snow in her life, so she's kind of worn out now, but yep, I can see the delay too. So I'm going to turn off everything I have that might be using bandwidth here. Okay, cool. That seems to be how you make stream markers. All right. The issue here is I'm not going to actually make a GitHub account because I have too many already. But what I wanted to show people is that First of all, I never use Google for anything other than putting a tag on me that says I'm a real person, if I can help it. So I think their search is absolutely dire, and it has been for years. So I use Bing because their AI seems to be a lot stronger at filtering search. We're kind of in the great slop era, where maybe half of the entire internet now is already generated AI garbage that just doesn't mean anything. So you have to be very careful when you search for stuff. Now, why would people put crap on the internet and for no reason and clutter up the world? Well, I mean, you know what BuzzFeed is, so like that answers your question. It's for money. If people, you can distract somebody and make them look at an ad rather than let them do what they want to do or learn something, that pays better. So clear instructions for making GitHub accounts. So then I hit this, and what I'll do, since I'm signed in, actually I'm not signed in right now, it's fine. I'm going to hit deep search. So what deep search does is it takes the Bing searches and throws them at GitHub, and then sometimes it will like be like, oh, I misunderstood. So let me give you a good example. I wanted to get good instruction, so I said, okay, my child is setting up a streaming account on Twitch. I got the Twitch account set up, but I didn't get the key in time, and I already had a YouTube channel, so I went with YouTube. But the interesting thing is when it said your child wants to start streaming, it knew I meant that they wanted to content create. But when I changed it to college student, they thought I meant streaming like I wanted to borrow my dad's Netflix or something. A consumption. So I thought it was very interesting that the AI by default assumed that 10-year-olds want to stream, like make streams, and 20-year-olds want to consume streams. So I had to kind of like tell it, no, it's not what I meant. So this looks like somebody put a documentation on GitHub about getting started. And that looks good, right? So I'm going to link that in chat. And let's see if this works. Oh, I can't put links in chat, fine. Okay, good. So this is why link in description exists. So what I'll do is I'll bookmark this, and I'm going to say GitHub edu, because it was a pretty good teaching method here. So they tell you how to make a new account, and you have to do some stuff. They don't mention the fact that you're going to have to do like 10 captchas to prove you're real. You're going to probably want to turn on 2FA at some point. I don't like having to carry my phone around to use my computer, but again, it proves I'm a real boy. So I'm going to say, yes, that was helpful. Very clear instructions. One thing you can do is just anytime somebody asks you for feedback on the internet, pretend they meant it and give your feedback, because 99% of people don't. So you have a very loud voice when you do something like, yes, this person was nice, or yes, these instructions were clear, or this large language model thing kind of went. So let's see if I can take some questions from chat. Is that a thing I know how to do? Okay, thank you, good. So love the BuzzFeed head, I like that. So, so yeah, so we have a long stream delay. If I restart the stream, I've watched enough Vinesauce to know all the things that can go wrong. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so let's say you have a GitHub account. So let's look at this. Let's see. So I have to record a video explaining how to do all this stuff, and I thought the best thing is I'll just clip this. That should probably work, right? Famous last words. So let's see, I want to put another marker for the stream. Unable to add stream marker. Okay, so what does that mean? All right, great, good. So we're good. Good is fine. Okay, I have no idea what I guess I don't know what a stream marker is. It's fine. Good. Okay. Okay. Am I signed in? Fantastic. I am. Good. Okay. Okay, important things to know with Suno. So you can customize this quite a bit. So by default, and I did log in with Google because, like I said, the one thing Google's good at is watching everybody. So I just say, "Hi, Google, it's me. I'm real," and then the site stops hassling me about captchas. Home, create, library, explore, search, credits. I have a lot of notifications. So here, I'll brag. This Japanese guy who's a Suno administrator liked some of my music. So he can tell that it's somebody who doesn't speak Japanese using machine translation. But I think he was just being really nice because I was trying my best to get a good beat. Okay. So let's talk about what Suno does. Yeah, awesome. So I want to try to teach programming. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. This is what I do when I type. That's the mission today. So my stream setup is terrible. I actually went and looked for a stream deck because I need another monitor so I can put all my streaming stuff over there. But we'll worry about that later. So let's look at this. So I'm going to start really simple. I'm going to do instrumental. Now here's the thing. If you don't pay for Suno, switch it to 3.5 because it uses way fewer credits, okay? You won't get as good results, but you can play around with things. In fact, let me do that now. Let me practice what I preach. So I'm going to try to do 3.5. I'm going to do instrumental and do some very short songs. And I'm even going to make a new workspace called Stream Experiments. So that way I'll know what's going on, right? So this is just like a folder, or one might say a code space. So let's try New Wave. And I want New Wave, and that sounds pretty good. And I'm going to just let it generate a name. So this is the least you could do with Suno to make it do anything. That's why I put 3.5. If your prompt is too short or your prompt is too long, you won't get good results. So one of the things I think is interesting is to talk about this in terms of general, how do you write a prompt to AI? You just write what you want mostly. So I might try this. I'm going to say New Wave, and then I might try a New Wave song and see if I'm wasting the word song. Because your budget's limited, right? Again, I'm doing instrumental because I figured that way it was less to worry about. Because you can write your lyrics, you could have another LLM write lyrics. I found Pi was pretty good at writing country music, which is pretty funny. That's pi.ai. So let's see what Untitled New Wave sounds like. I hope I'm not blowing your eardrums out. I don't have a audio leveler on, or a compressor, or even a good mic. This is me saving a lot of things that I didn't have saved. Cool. Cancel this. So then I love about Sublime, I can do this. You can hear it now, right? test 1. Okay, so a couple of notes. New Wave is going to give you purple and pink. That sounds about right because it's like 1985, I think. And I can just be like bing, 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 you know. I can just pop some buttons and see what happens. So if you're just experimenting, let me show you how to set this up. So I'm taking notes in a file right now that's just right here, right? And so I want to show you 2 ways you can store things in GitHub. This is actually quite important. I think it'll be useful for all your classes. So even if you do not have a GitHub requirement for a class, I would still make a repo for it and keep your notes in it. It's very useful. So I'm going to go to our repo, which I have to type in CSC 134. So one thing that I did wrong was I made a repo every semester. And I think really if I had made a repo and like revisioned it per year, that probably would work better. So I'm going to just use master for now, and I'm going to do this. So I'm going to say nothing too fancy. So this is my private repo, but it'll work the same in your public repo. So I encourage you, I'm going to take a moment to sip my drink, and I would say go ahead and log into your GitHub accounts. Whether you want to write a little code today, do a little music today, or just kind of like chat, and we'll look at that. So one thing I really do is I'll go here to the file that already exists, and I can do some edits. Let's see here. So okay, versioning sounds complicated, but you're already doing it because you just do this button and say here, and I'll say here. So you don't have to put an existing commit. Now, you know, I told you to push some, like, don't bother me again. Well, there's times when this stuff matters, but I would say I'll tell you when you're older, which is a dad joke. I'll tell you in like a half a semester when I get better at doing pull requests. Because sometimes on a large project, you don't want to just YOLO your change into the code and hope it works. Because if people have, like, you know, their phone and the phone auto updates your app and it doesn't work anymore, people get fired, right? Companies go under. So we're just doing stuff for ourselves. So one thing I could do, which is kind of neat, is not even use a code space. I can just go here, and I could go into here, and I could be like, oh, cool, I got my folders, and I'm going to do a module, so I'm going to do some stuff. But, like, since we used code spaces, I think I'm going to use code space. And so how do I do that? Well, I go back to the beginning here. Something I didn't mention that's worth knowing is you always have up here your name and then the repo. And generally, if you give me a link like this with the repo name, as long as your repo isn't private, I can just look at that. And I'm going to stop asking for screenshots and stuff. I'm going to be like, show me your work on GitHub. So having done that, I'm going to say, uh-oh. I want to remove all my old code spaces because there's nothing in them, so like I don't need more than one. And that one was 4 days old. You know what? I can use it. It's fine. If this had a bunch of changes in it, I would be thinking very carefully about whether or not I wanted to do this live on stream, but it's fine. Okay. So here's another nice way you can do things. So it's a new machine, so all I'm going to regret is showing you how incredibly messy my... Oh, really? Seriously? It decides to wait. You know, I wouldn't really usually show people my documents folder, but I feel like I can show you this. Okay, so I said stream notes, and the first thing I did, which was stupid, is I have 2 files here. So I'm going to move these over here. So look, you can just drag a file right into CodeSpace, and it's there. So the first thing I noticed is I made the file twice, so I better delete the old one. Right? So I'm going to say this file, delete. Now usually delete permanently, very scary. Although, you know, again, you can undo. So if you're following along, okay. I find a few notes is better than a lot of notes. Okay. So first thing I want to do now is I'm like, oh, I want to move it into modules. I'm going to leave that on, even though it's going to be annoying. And I'm going to make a new folder. So for reasons that I won't get into, like you can make new files pretty easily if you just push the button on the front of the page. But if you're going to put something in a folder, I would make a code space and do it there. So this is module 1. Okay, maybe I'll click on this again. Cool. Okay. So one thing I'm trying to do is get my stuff more organized as a teacher. So let's talk about what we want to learn today. You know, it's you use it or lose it. So if you learn how to make a code space and don't do it for 2 weeks, you're going to learn it again. So I'll just hop on in here every so often, just make a file. So that's the way I think about it, is we have a very nice robot librarian that's always like, oh, were you looking for this? It's here. So you have to know how she talks, but that's what the whole version thing is. Because used to be, you just make a lot of files, and you just put them in a folder or a disk or a tape somewhere, and then like you just take that tape or disk and you put it in a bank vault. So if your company has a fire, God forbid, you could still get your customer data back because you have it off-site. Well, it's all in the cloud now, so I guess everything's backed up redundantly. And since Microsoft owns GitHub, I feel like they probably have really good backup strategies. So anything we put into our GitHub is going to be there until we get rid of it. That also means you can't put things in there that you don't want people to see. Because like, let's say later we're going to learn how to use what's called an API key to like use a service. And every time you use that service, it costs like maybe like 1/10 of a cent. That's not a key you want on public GitHub because bots will scrape all of GitHub like 24/7 trying to find keys to steal them to spend your money. Does that mean we need a better solution than API keys? Probably, like a 2-part key maybe. But anyway, the problem is keeping secrets. Do never put secret information in your GitHub. Includes like where you live and your API keys. Okay. So anything with like money, like API keys, like giving somebody your credit card number and the code on the back. So, you know, and obviously, you know, don't tell people where you live unless you know them. That seems pretty straightforward. Okay, so plan for today. We're going to accidentally learn Markdown. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go to Bing, and I'm going to be like, hey, Copilot, do a little work for me real quick. if you're signed in with your Fable Tech account, Copilot just works. They tried to turn it off and they couldn't, which I find very funny. So what? So I'm just nice to the robot. You know, whatever bot you use, in the last few years, they've been trained very heavily on interactions with people. And in the real world, when you're nice to somebody, they are usually more willing to help you. It took me a while to learn that, but the robot works the same. So you can just say, this sounds exciting, and the AI output will agree. Because, you know, there's no person here, right? This is just a very complicated algorithm that's trying to find a bunch of data in this soup of numbers. And it said, check your audio level. So you guys were good with audio, and that's good. So this is great. So I'm going to put that in there, which means I need to go back to the window here, right? So now what I do is I will drag all the windows I'm not using to the right, and I'll start closing windows on the left. Like, I'm not using Blackboard anymore because I put the announcements up, and I'll use Dillinger later. So I'm just going to have as few windows as possible, and they're in order. Okay, so yeah, I should get a limiter or something. I know that's probably pretty easy, so I apologize for the clickas. And they say we should experiment. So this is really good. I like that. So it accidentally gave me a really good explanation that I wanted while I was doing things. But before I ever put anything in here, so I'll say unfiltered AI opinion. I try to take it as, like, I ask like a coworker or my study group what they think, but I don't just do it, right? Not only is it plagiarism, it's also just dumb to do what people tell you without asking if that was what you wanted to do. Let's see here. So I'm going to say first take, and that seems fine, right? I'm just like trying stuff. Okay, so I have a problem, and I hate that. So I'm going to say git config pull rebase true, and we'll see if that works. Okay, so again, if I did this at work, if I worked at a software company and it was like their repo, I might have gotten fired just now. Okay, but on my stuff, oh, okay, good question. Sorry. Thanks, Michaela. Sorry, I know the delay is probably really annoying. So what I did was I just went to I had some like text files on my machine. So these MD are called Markdown. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I use a program called Notepad++. Let me actually write this in the file while I'm talking. So my goal here is like, close this guy. Okay, so we checked all that in. So now what I want to do is do this, module 1 objective. So okay. This is not super important, but I want to make it look pretty. So let's see if this works. You want me to do another file? Would that help? Let me do that. So let me do, I'll actually do one. So I have, let's see here. Will I regret this? No, that's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to take a file and just drag it up here. So I'm going to say incorporated some Copal changes. I call them Copal. It doesn't matter. I just get tired of typing Copilot. Okay, I'm good. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do another file. So I want to put an example file in here somebody could download. So I'm going to say lesson to song example 1. And let's see if I can, oh, the hardest part for me is actually dragging on a touchpad. So I need a mouse hooked up. Like, look, I'm now failing to be able to drag this file. That's really funny. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, we'll play that later. So let's see if I can do it. No? Okay, that's funny. I'm getting kind of embarrassed now. Okay, if it's a big file, it's going to take a while, but it looks like it worked. Okay, right. So now what I've done is I put an example song of what I put in here. Okay, so I'm going to close that window because I can't edit that file. Like that is like when you build a C++ file and you, well, let me just show you an example, right? So this is like when you make a C++ file, you're going to get a program you can run, but you can't do anything with the program. You have to change the C++ file. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So I'm in module 1, and I'm going to press new file, and I'm going to say, okay, so I'm going to do, and so it's like, oh, do you want to install C++ because it's a C++ file? And I say yes. And this means now that this code space will be set up to use C++. So you get used to bouncing between the sides of these things. I don't need the beta version. That's cool. I mean, early access is cool sometimes, but I'm fine. If you guys want to tell me in chat if you're following along, or like if it makes sense or not, that would be helpful. I'm hoping this is making sense. Okay, so I'm going to do this and say, cool. Okay, so this is much. I'll also do M1 something, right? I always do this. It helps me out. So it helps me out a lot when I'm grading too. If you have all the stuff at the top, so. Okay, so there's a reason why this saves you some space by typing. So I'm going to say int main. Cool. Get a little bigger, right? So that was a fun experience because usually I just copy and paste the intro program. So I had to think about, is there like a bracket, stuff like that. So here's a good example of something that I don't expect you to memorize. Of all this program, you should be able to copy and paste the whole thing. And I expect you to be able to at least type these lines, right? So, yeah, great. Great, even to recap. Okay. Let me switch from top chat to all chat. That seems very silly that it does that. Great, good, okay. That works better. Yeah, so there's a lot to learn, but we have like 14 weeks to do it. So yeah, if you understand cout, so another thing I could do is I could also say another way. And I could do that. Okay. And that means new line. So you can do end of line. Now, one thing is I'm going to put here that this is L lowercase l, not 1, right? That gets a lot of people because this font is very annoying that way. So maybe I look for a better font. That's a pretty good question. So I want to be able to see out, things like that, right? So that's good. So now if I run this program, I should have a little button here. I'm going to make this a little less confusing for you guys. All right, cool. Yep, cool. You wanna do it? Okay, so sometimes it'll pop this up and just pick the first option because there's no difference between these that you need to worry about. Do not show again because if I don't know what it means, it didn't help me. Later, I'll go find out how to turn that on. Whenever you say don't show again, you can push one button somewhere to make it show again, so you never lose anything. and I have to pop down here and say hello, how it's going. So this proves that those are the same, right? So now I go back over here and I see it changed a lot of files, right? Well, one thing is I didn't check this MP3 in first. I should have done that. But there's a file called, if I look at this, hello world.cpp and hello world. And if I look at this file, it's just like I can't read it, right? Because it's not a file. It's not like a text file. It's a Linux program. Like when you click on a program on Windows, that's an executable file. It's a binary file. So Suno kind of compiles your words into a song. I hope that analogy makes sense. So having said that, let me see here. Push this. Good. So let's take a 5-minute break. Okay, how am I doing? I've got 6 people on. That's great. So I think this is working better than Blackboard Collaborate. That's one of the questions I would ask. Do you agree? Very good. Okay, can you hear me say 1, 2, 3, 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I correctly muted, you can't hear me now. I'm about to say something embarrassing, so you better stop me. See, that's what's called testing. So hiding the scene in OBS doesn't do anything. Great, cool. All right, that was just a test. I knew that. No, I didn't. I thought I was muted. All right, you doing good, Esther? Yeah, she's fine. Okay, good. She wore herself out earlier. That's good. So, I mean, that was the lesson I wanted to do, was to get everybody to show. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm back now. Excellent. Cool. I am back. Yeah, that's probably good. You know, like the bank calls while you're on a stream. And there's some streamer fails like that, right? Or just their mom comes and yells at them. Let's see here. So what I wanted to do, I don't need to leave up this. So basically, if you do something like this today with your notes, then you're doing really good. But what I thought I would do is, I've cleaned this up a little bit. So I wanted to show you something that's kind of neat. So, okay. That's pretty good. So I left, you know, I moved some of the stuff from opinion to the top. And I'm going to say minor edit typos. If it's a small change, I make a note that it's a small change. Okay, great. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go back to GitHub. This is the part that I want you guys to do. So like you want to close the circle, like you upload something, make sure it's there, right? So, so I'm going to go to my, and look at the repo. Okay. Although I should probably use the student one, would be a better example, but that's all right. It didn't show up because I had a dash. That's interesting. So look at that. If your names are wrong, you use the wrong one. So I'm gonna look at this, right? So I'm actually, I've been working in my own private repository. So now what I want to do is move the files over to the other one. That's a little tricky. Y'all shouldn't have to do that because you only have one C++ example. Okay. But let's still show you how you can, upload a file. So I could just do add file, upload files, and I could just kind of drag them up. So I'm going to do that here. Where's my song? There it is. And I'm just going to drag it here. Okay, and I'm going to say added example song. Okay. All right, if you're wondering why I did country, it's pretty simple. It's because somebody asked me if I could do it as a country song. So if you like other styles, try it yourself. But let's get back to Suno and do some stuff here. So I did some post-punk emo. So I'm going to now turn on, I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to say write with Suno. So this will use some more tokens, but that's okay. So I'm going to say, cool. So I think that's a pretty good prompt for a song. So here I'm using an internal system. Okay. Usually you get 2. So I'm going to see if I like hot mic, or actually you guys can vote in chat. You want to do they left the mic on? Wow. Only it's PG-13. Let's try that. So one thing that's cool about the Remy lyrics model is it will curse all day long if you want it to. But I'm doing a stream, so maybe I should just keep it a little okay, I have Squid Kid or Do Your Chores. Okay. And I think I can leave this window up like that. Ooh, I have an idea. If I could pin that, that's fine. Anybody have an opinion? If you don't know why it's Squid Kid, I guess you never had a Wii U, or I guess a Switch. But so maybe I just didn't get anything useful. Yeah, these are messed up. I think it's talking about Dream. So maybe this is just a mess. So I might just start over. I might say it's a happy, positive song about a snow day. Okay. I'm on. Okay, I'm just going to go with that. So I'm going to say it's post-punk emo and see what happens. Actually, I think punk and emo sounds pretty good. Okay, if you don't know what that means, it's fine. But it would be appropriate for a punk song. All right, so you're also going to get 2 generations per Suno song. So let me make some notes here. Stream close links to the right. So most of the time for anything, there's it'll do 2 generations and pick the one it thinks is the best, right? So they don't show you on ChatGPT, but that's kind of how it works. But on Suno, it's very obvious. They're saying here, I made 2 songs. What do you think? So I'm going to need you guys to tell me, first of all, if you can hear me, and second of all, if you can hear me if it's not too loud, the music when it plays. So I'm going to play both of these songs, and we'll just kind of see if anybody has an opinion about what we get. And then we're going to try a different model and see what happens.
There's a snow day. I'm feeling awesome. They might have canceled school, but they didn't cancel fun. And I've been hearing people say that 15-year-olds all act depressed, but no school today, depression's recessed. And you wanted a happy, upbeat song. It's not like we were being lonely. We just didn't have much to sing about. There wasn't all that much to sing about.
Like, it doesn't read.
Snow day, I'm feeling awesome. They might have canceled school, but they didn't cancel fun. And I've been hearing people say that 15-year-olds all act depressed, but no school today, depression's recessed. And you wanted a happy, upbeat song. It's not like we were being lonely. We just didn't have much to sing about. There wasn't all that much to sing about. And I've been hearing.
Okay, so I'm going to do a new song. So I want to just go back to create and say, so sometimes if you gotta leave the old stuff, I want to say here, let's kill this out and say, Squid Kid. So, let's see here. I think that'll work. So the idea it gave me a prompt I think is funnier than the original idea. So I'm going to see how that works. Okay, this looks nonsensical, but I kind of like it. So my mom calls me Squid Kid or Squid Kid. Okay. Okay, again. Calls me. All right, I'm sold. Like I said, I think I might try 720p next time to see if the latency is lower, or just try a different internet. That's entirely possible. Okay, so now it should keep the name I came up with. So now this is pretty good. So I'm going to put a little extra money into it, and I'm going to say when you generate the song, like use these lyrics, but try harder, or use more tokens, because the version 4 is trained on more stuff. So let's see what happens. I'm kind of excited about this, as I have not done much music with people before, just like trying stuff. Again, here's another thing. Just put in chat like a genre or like an instrument or something. I'm not really attached to punk emo. It just gave me some options here. So maybe I'll say like rock and do another option. Let's see what happens.
Ink all over the ground, every map, every town, got bombs and rounds.
It's a little depressing to me. I'm gonna try this one.
All over the ground.
Okay. I'm still gonna play him, but I feel like it's too like a bummer. However, the picture is like insane, because it knows that like Squid Kid means you play a game where squids write graffiti, which I think is pretty
Ink
funny.
all over the ground, every map, every town, got bombs and rounds, spray up and down. I got a big W. it's on the edge. My haters are catching L's, I'm on the ledge. They leaving cause all they be seeing is me. Now they bleeding, now all I hear is a flat tone. They losing, and all they hear is a tap sound. We cruising, and who be even when black around? We bruising, and mama said she proud. I knew it, and the whole world's out to hear that. My mom calls me the Squid Kid.
The bridge is not bad. So the question is, if you have a song that was written as like punk emo, is it still going to flow if you change to R&B? So if you try to make a rap song and it sings it, like the syllables don't match up. So let's see what happens.
Ink all over the ground, every map, every town. Got bombs and rounds.
That's more like it.
Up and down.
Maybe.
I got a big W, it's on the edge. My haters, you're catching nails, I'm on the ledge. They leaving cause all they be seeing is me, now they bleeding. Now all I hear is a flat tone. They losing, and all they hear is a tap sound. We cruising, and who be even when black around? We bruising, and mama said she proud. I knew it, and the whole world's about to hear that. My mom calls me the Squid Kid. Squid Kid. Believe it, Squid Kid in the human mind. Squid Kid, Squid Kid. Mom, why did you bring me back? Oh no no no. When they could feel my wrath. Oh no no no. Paint on your walls, in fact. Oh no no no. I'ma need 100 G's for that. Oh no no no. If I ever have 9 cameras on me, I cause a split screen. When I let out the black smoke, you don't want my ear. Yeah. My mom calls me the Squid Kid. Squid Kid. Believe it, Squid Kid in the human mind. Promise you the Squid Kid. Believe it, Squid Kid. Mama see me winning, getting first place.
Okay, I'm gonna try the other one.
Ink all over the ground, every map, every town. Got bombs and rounds, spray up and down.
I got a big W, it's on the edge. My haters catching L's, I'm on the ledge. They leaving cause all they be seeing is me, now they bleeding. Now all I hear is a flat tone. They losing, and all they hear is a tap sound. We cruising, and who be even when black around? We bruising, and mama said she proud. I knew it, and the whole world's about to hear that. My mom calls me the Squid Kid. Squid Kid. Can't believe it. Squid Kid. In the human. My mom calls me the Squid Kid.
Okay. I need the best version. Is this one? I gotta find it. Yes.
Girl, you're my football-headed nerd, yeah. And maybe I'm your chocolate blonde. Your Fargus 12.0 on your quiz test. Then Carly comes and does the whole job wrong. Hey, Arnold, if you ever need someone to lean on, I can be the one to give all my shit to you. Arnold,
Just as long as you don't use the swing set.
I don't think I could ever see myself again. Hey Arnold, Helga really couldn't stay beside you. So before you go, you should get with this Pia. She's been chewing gum on your block, and she needs you now. Hey Arnold, if you ever need someone to lean on, I can be the one to give all my shit to you. Arnold, just as long as you
We're wrapping up,
use
right?
the swing set, I don't think I could ever see myself again. And for us, I'd brave the most violent abductions in the C and Lit class, which is gonna destroy. I would fight Harold if that's what it took. I'd say,
Move it, football head, in front of your whole school.
That's actually how he got killed, but in fact it was quite casual, and that his head really was shaped like a football.
and you're my fourth part of the wall, and you're my money lifesavers roll, and you're my lava lamp, I'm your wine-colored crop. I was never into grapes anyways. Hey Arnold, if you ever need someone to lean on, I can be the one to give all my shit to you. Arnold, just as long as you don't use a swing set, I don't think I could ever see myself again. Hey Arnold.
I'm not gonna play the other ones because they are terrible. Yeah, because like I tried a bunch of stuff. So let's see what I can come up with. So yeah, I was trying around with that. I did some different things. I was doing covers, but like I said, on your phone, it's gonna only just have the default workspace. So one thing you can do if you log on to the same account on your computer is you can go over here and be like, where is it? Workspace. Yeah, you can like pick different workspaces. Cause see. Yeah, I'm addicted to Suno, I guess. So I think it's interesting. But that was my favorite, I think. I got some really, really weird results. And things that are kind of cool is if somebody says something funny with out of context, like I will use that as a prompt. So I'm going to try again, and I'm going to say, y'all give me another genre of music, and I'm going to start from scratch. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And again, you guys, all you got to do is just put Suno on your phone and you can do this. And I highly recommend it. Okay, cool. Let me put this right here. Hopefully you guys are having fun with this. But the point is I'm actually teaching you, like, if you're like, oh, how do I learn how to prompt a large language model? You're already doing it. Because when you try stuff and you see that you get weird results, you're doing what the experts do. When somebody says, here's a clear list of steps to use this fancy AI stuff, you can make your own steps. Gold. Pure gem, it's in. Okay. Let's do it. Okay. I want to use your exact wording. It'll be interesting to see what happens. So can I copy and paste it? So creeper from Minecraft stealing diamonds. Okay, cool. Creeper Minecraft. Okay, so again, I could use different models, and I think it says, yeah, I always like to use the new one. But the whole point here is like this one is like super, like Remy is the one that was like, I think Arnold would be a great thing to sing about. And the song was called Girl, You're My Football-Headed Nerd, yeah. Like that was all from Suno. So let's see what this gives us. So it's gonna be 1 and 2, and let's take a vote. I'm also demonstrating workflow because you see you have to choose the lyrics and you could write them yourself, or you could, actually I'll try this. I'm gonna do a pass through Copilot. So I want you guys to, okay, so we got guardrailed, probably something in here like the word steal it didn't like, but we're gonna see what happens. Sometimes it'll crap out because the internet goes weird because I'm streaming. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so I'm gonna try this. It's a rock song. I'm gonna see if that helps it figure out, because sometimes it's like, well, if you don't tell it the genre in the lyrics, like even though the lyrics don't need to know what genre it is, they kind of do, right? That mine game. Wow. So we just talk around it. Okay, example, I cannot say Indiana Jones hat. They will say, I'm sorry, you can't do that. But if I say the famous adventurer's fedora, it gives me an Indiana Jones hat. So I had to change the prompt, but I think I got the idea, right? But that's interesting. They just straight up, like if you say, give me Van Halen, it will go, nope. But if you go, something. Okay, so you guys decide if you want Creeper from That Mind Game or Creeper. And we'll check it out. This is pretty good, I think. Mojang, I Need Defense. That's pretty good. I'm laughing. This is gold. This is like way better than ideas I had. I love it. Okay, vote one more. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Like this is, cool. Okay, so let's see what we get. I like it. I agree. I'm gonna do it. So the other thing I'm gonna do is see. This one may be one where we try for different like types of music. I think Creeper's pretty good. So I'm gonna try. Let's see here. So we'll do R&B rock with R&B instruments and trumpet, sax, bass, guitar. All right, let's try that. I just had that idea. Creeper B-Rock remix. Okay, I'll leave it in my default workspace, I guess. No, I said stream experiments, put it in the right place. Got to file your stuff. This is really, like, there's people out there. I want to tell you the craziest thing. If you look on Suno, there's people who are doing, like, rock operas that are based on, like, they're like, well, we're the Amazing Digital Circus, but, like, we're real and we're not robots. And we're on Suno and we're going to trend, so join us. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It's called, like, The Jester. But people are, like, doing all kinds of bizarre stuff, and I encourage you to check it out. The Japanese community has this like giant document that I can't read because it's in Japanese. It explains exactly how they recreate.
You are my creeper. You are my creeper. Don't you blow up on me. You don't need. You are my creeper. You are my creeper. Don't you blow up on me right now. Creeper and Enderman stealing
Okay. Wow, that was really fun. I like this one the most. So this is one I'm going to think about, but I'm going to leave this one public. So um, I think that jams. Um, if you want to just give me y'all can just give me your Suno accounts if you have it, and I'll just add you if you want. Is that cool? What is my username? Where is it? Oh, just Teacherbot with an underscore. Okay. Nope, that doesn't work. I said users. Does it work there? It works. Cool. So you can do it Teacherbot or Abstract Mixtape 680. So yeah, if you guys want to give me account names, I'll play it. But I think we got a winner, so I think that counts for class today. I had way more fun. Like I had a lot of fun fooling around with the AI writing songs, but it's way more fun fooling around with a group of people trying stuff. Because if it's terrible, it's funny instead of depressing. Because you're like, oh, okay, that's fine. That didn't go wrong. And when you're using AI tools, you're going to always occasionally get some absolute garbage. Which the important lesson there is you always have to be the boss and say, okay, yeah, I'm good with that. I'm not good with that, but I like it. So I guess you can email it to me. But yeah, that was really, really cool. I guess I'm going to leave it there because, man, my voice is tired after streaming for an hour. But that was really cool. Okay, it worked. Good. I love it. Okay, so Persuasive Remixer. Okay, so let's see if this works. I want to search for... So my I should put in the whole thing, 1008. This is you, right? And then I want to follow. And then the other one is Adrenaline Fueled Music Journal. Yeah, these names are, I love random names for stuff. It's like, if you ever look at here's a good idea. When you make a code space, it's something like Amazing Banana or like, Fortunate Gorilla. Just like make a song about one of those. So let's see what I got here. So I'm going to do the next one is Adrenaline Fueled, I got to do users. $58.56. Cool. That was okay. What did I spell wrong? Adrenaline Fueled Music Journal. So you may need to make a song public for me to see you, unless I spelled it wrong. Music journalist. Oh, I spelled it wrong. That's good. Follow. Okay. I'm gonna do the other one. Technical jam session. Cool. And then four, 4, 5, 9. That's the other thing. If you're gonna play stuff, ask them first. Follow. Okay, so Michaela, if you want to try something later, and if you make it public, the way you do it when you're playing one of your songs, you just pick visibility. If you only want your friends to hear it, you can just do link only and give them the link. But if you do public, people can search for it. That's how that works. So now when I go to, well, I want to see the people I'm following. How do I do that? Let's see, explore. Oh, this is a cool thing too. You should play around with the explore thing because you can just like spin it and get crazy stuff. Okay, so now let me go back and I'm not sure that it'll let me do this. So I want to do, I'll just do Adrenaline Fueled. Okay. Let's see how many of these there are. Did I go close? And you are 45856. Cool. When I figure out how to use just show me my friends, that'll be much better. Okay, here we go. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm gonna appreciate that on its own time. That's pretty cool. So the other one was, let me see if I can search it by name because don't worry, honey, we're almost done. I'm getting yelled at by let's see here. So it was go back to my window. Sorry, I got too many windows open. Great, persuasive remixer. That was the one, and then okay, good, yeah. And it was, yeah, random names are confusing, but it's fine, it works. So this is the one, so Lost No Spence, Clean Raw Grunge. This is going to be interesting.
Piles on the floor needing attention now. Haven't touched it in weeks, don't know how. Crumpled shirts, stained jeans, screaming loud. Gotta face the mess, curse the laundry crowd. Out of sight, out of luck. Underwear's got his luck. Machines eating my soul, spinning out of control. Washers hum, drowning my will to live. Soap's a choke as it all starts to give. Mix of filth, progress so relative. Choked by fabric, reluctantly forgive. Out of sight, out of luck. Underwear's got his luck. Machines eat my soul, spinning out of control. Stained shirts, towels, clothes that don't fit. Guess I'll wear it dirty just for a bit. Trying to clean, but I just wanna quit. Laundry mountain climbing, it's bullshit. Dryer echoes tales of each loss. Lost a shirt, lost time, here's the cost. Socks mismatched, life tossed. Laundry dragging forever, my boss.
Yes, well, this is Andrew. Okay. Absolutely. Let me give you that right now. I just need to turn this off real quick. Okay. Sorry. Let's see if I can make this work. I just, okay, good. So, okay. Sorry. Okay. Too many windows. I think that worked. Okay, I'm really sorry.